Hi everyone, my name is Sharon Platt. I am one of the science tutors with the Student Success Commons. And this video is going to be about the rotator cuff muscles and the teres major. And you'll see why that goes with them in a moment here. So let's start with the supraspinatus, which is up here in the supraspinous fossa. In fact, the origin of this one is the supraspinous fossa. If you were to try to take this muscle out of here, you would literally have to cut all along that bone in there. It is attached all along in there. So that is the origin. And then it kind of ducks under the acromion here and comes down and attaches to the greater tubercle of the humerus. So let's take a look at that on the bones so you can kind of get an idea here. So we have our supraspinous fossa up here, right? And see how there's a hole there? So it kind of comes over here and then attaches on this greater tubercle of the humerus. There's your lesser, there's your greater, there's the head, all right? So that is the insertion point on the greater tubercle. And you remember, muscles always pull, never push. Insertion always pulls toward origin. So if we take this insertion point and we pull back toward this origin, what are we going to have? We've got an insertion point right about here, and then we're going to pull back to up in, it's kind of like up in here, right there. It's kind of hard to get to. We're going to pull that direction. We're actually going to abduct the arm. So this is a synergist of, guess what? The deltoid. All right, this would be the agonist, and the supraspinatus is a synergist, abducts the arm, takes it away from the body. All right, and then we have the infraspinatus, and here again, the origin is the infraspinous fossa. It is attached all along under there, and it comes around, and it also attaches on the greater tubercle of the humerus. So we're having both of these come over and attach right there. All right, see that? So this one, oh, and then the teres minor, its origin, is on the lateral border of the scapula. So kind of over here. So it's not starting way over here, it's starting in here somewhere. But it also comes over and attaches on that greater tubercle. So you've got all three of these come over and attaching on the greater tubercle of the humerus. All right? So these two, if you think about it, they're back here, all right? And they're attaching over here. This is the insertion point on the greater tubercle for those two. So if they're going to pull back toward this, they're going to rotate your arm laterally. And you can kind of see it in the hand, if I can get out far enough. Rotate laterally, that way. Okay? And you can feel it. If you rotate your arm laterally, you can feel that. So these are why they're called the rotator cuff muscles. The supraspinatus pulls up, those pull back, and then we're going to learn about the ones that pull forward. And so you kind of can get this whole motion going on. That's why they're called the rotator cuff muscles. All right? So this is the subscapularis. This is the fourth rotator cuff muscle. And its origin, again, is the entire fossa, the subscapular fossa. And it comes over and it attaches on the lesser tubercle. That's its insertion point on the lesser tubercle. Let's take a look at that. So we were looking at the posterior side, and we saw things attaching on the greater tubercle right here. Now we're going to flip it over, and let's see if I can hang on to this. All right, we have the subscapularis coming over and attaching on the lesser tubercle right here. Here's your greater tubercle, lesser tubercle, intertubercular groove, right? So these guys are coming over and attaching to the tubercle nearest to them. So is this one. It just happens to be the lesser tubercle this time. All right? So what motion is that going to do? Well, it's probably going to do the opposite, right? It's going to rotate medially. All right, it's going to pull forward like this. And you can't really feel that one because it's kind of inside you. But trust me, that's what it does. You would feel it if you could stick your hand down in there and feel it. All right, those are the 4 rotator cuff muscles. Supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and subscapularis. However, we're also going to cover the teres major because if you see, it starts out here. We don't need to know the origins and insertions for this, but if you just look at its location, it's starting way out here, and then it's doing this really funny thing where it goes underneath the armpit and comes way over here, and it actually attaches in that intertubercular groove. Okay, so it's still very close to the lesser tubercle, but it comes a little bit farther to the intertubercular groove. Okay? And so it is going to be a synergist of the subscapularis. Those two, work together. And they rotate medially. The ones on the back, think of the location again. It's back here, insertions here. It's going to rotate laterally. The ones on this side are going to rotate medially, and the one on top is going to go up. It's going to abduct. All right? Those are the rotator cuff muscles and the teres major. The teres major also adducts the arm, and I think that's because of its location in that intertubercular groove. If you look at it here, intertubercular groove is way over here. So it's going to also do a little bit of adducting or bringing the arm down. Okay, so that's all the actions. Now let's find these things on this guy. This is probably the trickiest thing to find on this guy. So let's work through it a little bit. All right, so first of all, we can tell this guy is going underneath the armpit. Can you see that? How it's going straight under there. So that guy has to be the teres major. Therefore, the one right above him, teres major, is going to be teres minor. Alright, so this is how you figure it out. Look for the one that goes under the armpit, that's teres major. Next one up is teres minor. This is the infraspinatus, all 3 of these little things here. It's all one muscle. Because remember how big the infraspinatus is here. It's all of this here. All right? And you really can't see the supraspinatus or the subscapularis because they're inside and underneath the deltoid and whatnot. And that is the rotator cuff and the teres major. And here is Hannah. You get to see Hannah. She's photobombing. Oh, she's not even looking this direction. Hannah, there we go. Here's her pretty face.